Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Free Minute for January 26th. It's Monday. My name is Patrick Schmidt. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of FreeWill. This is a deep dive in everything that happened in the last few weeks in the world of nonprofit fundraising that you should know about. We'll talk about Davos, we'll talk about the economy, we'll talk about politics, but first we'll talk about snow. So I'm actually recording this from Cabo San Lucas, where I'm here speaking to the Foundation for Maternal Excellence a little bit later this week. And it just happens to be that meant that I escaped the massive snowstorm up and down the East Coast that happened this week. Why do we talk about snow here? It is a really good time to talk to your older donors and check in on them if they're on the East Coast. If you're working from home today, but you're working anyway, drop them a quick note and said, "Hey, just thinking about you with all the storm. How are you doing? Anything I can help with?" Et cetera, et cetera. They'll really appreciate it. It's a great moment for you to check in on those donors. All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk first about markets. The S&P 500 is up 1.36% year to date as of this recording, which is honestly pretty remarkable given what's happened geopolitically in January. I mean, you all remember this. It's very recent history, but we came right up to the precipice of a trade war with Europe, our longest standing allies. We even had some brief discussion about mobilizing military over Greenland. This is the kind of thing that investors tend to hate, and yet we're still seeing solid growth. The idea here is that investors are seeing very strong underpinnings of growth across the board. What do positive markets mean for us? They mean overall stronger giving, especially stronger stock giving, stronger donor advised fund giving, stronger giving out of IRAs, and people forget about this, stronger foundation giving. And so there's a lot of good stuff happening there. Some of the underlying data that's come in the last few weeks to show the economy's strength. The University of Michigan's consumer sentiment showed a tick up from December of 2025. And overall, people are looking a little bit happier in terms of more confident about the economy. People feel less panicked than they did a few months ago, which is good news. At the same time, that same survey showed inflation fears easing. People are feeling more confident about inflation going into the new year, which is likely to sort of make businesses and consumers more confident across the board. The Bureau of Economic Analysis showed that consumer spending stayed strong and folks haven't slammed the brakes. Employment remains stable. We haven't seen a meaningful spike in unemployment claims, although what we will see this year is a meaningful spike in retirements because a lot of folks are turning 64, 65, 66. So keep an eye on that. A small tip is that those folks make great volunteers. So this is the year you should double check your volunteer program, not just folks doing manual labor, which they can certainly do, volunteer accountants, volunteer lawyers, volunteer tutors, right? A lot of highly skilled folks are leaving the workforce because it's just time for them. They decided they have enough money to save to retire on, but they'll still be looking for meaning in a really interesting way, and your organization can provide that. Let's jump to Davos for a moment. So if you don't know what Davos is, it's this annual meeting in Switzerland, in Davos, Switzerland, run by the World Economic Forum. It's a gathering of global political leaders, CEOs, investors, and philanthropists. And it's less about immediate decisions and more about where are capital and attention going in 2026 and beyond. One of the strongest themes that came out of Davos in response to philanthropy was a move away from this ongoing charity work where you'll just do the same thing every year and much more towards catalytic involvement. Philanthropy that unlocks other funding, that de-risks innovation, that accelerates system change. This is how big mega donors, especially the government side, will be looking on what to fund over the next few years. It's not just a theoretical shift, it's a real mindset change that's happening. It's been happening for a few years already. Now that domestically, there's a quiet but really important shift happening in the way the federal government is funding nonprofits. And this hasn't got enough coverage, and I want to spend just a moment on it. Under the Trump administration, we're continuing to see a shift towards community block grants flowing to states and local governments, instead of everything just being centrally funded by the federal level. Practically, this is a really big deal. It means that funding decisions are happening closer to the ground, that states have more discretion, that local governments have more discretion, and that actually lowers the bar for smaller, locally rooted nonprofits to participate. So some small organizations that would have never had a shot at all at federal funding may now actually get some really significant dollars this way. And so you really want to be on top of your grant writing and grant finding game. If you haven't already, think about some tactics to do that as well. It's one of these structural changes that quietly reshapes who gets money, and many nonprofits haven't adjusted the strategy yet. So if you want to learn more about this, we'll talk more about it in the future. You might also want to check out grantassistant.ai if you're looking for help in terms of finding and writing grants. Now we're 26 days into the new year, and that means 26 days into the tax shift that happened due to last year's One Big Beautiful Bill. This is exactly the moment where a lot of smart organizations are focusing on education, not urgency. We're already seeing momentum towards non-cash giving. We saw a lot of people growing very strongly in qualified charitable distributions last year. These are going to have a massive year due to a bunch of changes in the way that seniors are getting taxed. And so qualified charitable distributions are sort of the secret hack that seniors can use to get a full tax deduction. It also means they're going to give bigger gifts to your charity. And so QCDs, this is going to be the year of QCDs in a way that we haven't seen in a while. The organizations that are going to have the best years are the ones that are investing in education early, and you're going to see those chips get cashed all year if that happens. Now, last thing I want to note about AI, one of the interesting dynamics here is that the conversations at Davos and actually the conversations I've had recently with nonprofits are very similar. It's a lot less of, oh, AI is exciting, and a lot more, okay, this is the year where we put practical applications into play and we use it to accelerate our work. And so you see this at Fortune 500 companies, you see this at small nonprofits and everybody in between. Next week, February 3rd, Tuesday, we are going to do a deep dive on AI and some very practical implications in order to accelerate your work. We'll go through all of the, we'll sort of skip all of the like rudimentary AI stuff you've heard 100 times, and we're going to dive into some things you probably don't know about that you can put into place today. So take a look at that. We'd love to have you join you on Tuesday, next Tuesday, not tomorrow. And yeah, I think overall summary of the first few weeks in January from a fundraising standpoint, a lot of opportunity, a lot of need for education, and a shifting landscape, but one that actually has opportunities if you're looking the right way. So big moment for grant seekers, really big moment for fundraisers who know about non-cash giving. We haven't even talked about the continuation of the Great Wealth Transfer, but obviously 2026 is going to be a big year for that. So good luck this week. Look forward to seeing many of you next Tuesday, and hope all of you on the East Coast are staying warm and actually across most of the country. So enjoy your week. Hope maybe you even got a snow day out of it, and look forward to seeing you soon.